What's going on, everybody? How we doing tonight? How we doing? How are we doing? Been some crazy games today. You guys see Bellarmine and what's going on with this NC Central game? What the heck? They got a technical foul? This game's crazy. Blew a 29-point lead, guys. 29-point lead. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm glad you got that. I'm sorry it was a little delayed, but I'm glad you got the shirt. How we doing though as far as bets, everyone? How we doing as far as bets today? The Bears cashed for me. That was good. It was a little close down the stretch, but they got the job done. Guys, I'm telling you, the Big Sky tournament is going to be crazy. I know I hype up the Big Sky like it's the SEC of college football, but man, that's going to be a wild tournament. So we'll give a few more minutes before we start running through things. But basically, what we're going to do is run through the futures market. Now, I have a list of futures that I like quite a bit. Most of them I have bet, some of them I haven't. But I think it's cool if we just discuss everything and you can kind of make your determinations, because as I was going through them, I was like, if I bet all of these, it's probably not the best idea, but hopefully you guys can listen to some of the leans maybe, and you can kind of develop maybe your own type of portfolio for futures, or maybe you don't like to bet futures and are just kind of curious. What we're going to do is we'll start with some conference tournament, because I actually found a little bit of value with conference tournaments. And then we will hop into the Final Four, and then we'll hop into the championships. For the most part, I would say, the Final Four and to win the national championship, they're kind of interchangeable for the most part. I mean, there's nothing really where I'm like, oh, I really like them to make the Final Four but not win the championship, or like, vice versa. For the most part, the odds are pretty much where they should be ratio wise between the two. And also, B-Germ, appreciate you, man. 1 year. 1 year. Appreciate you, man. That's awesome to see. With the 12-month sub ban. Appreciate you. BetStamp does, I believe. Yes, they do. But not on conference tournaments. Or at least not on the smaller conference tournaments. Because, and you know what, this is actually an issue that I was having across the board. I wasn't able to find a lot of the conference tournament odds in one position or one area. I had to do a lot of searching on different apps and just going all over the place. So it was kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Ryan Kelly's in shambles. Oh my goodness. Norfolk State just covered. That's why you're in shambles. That's why you're in shambles. Oh man, I'm gonna have to see a replay of that, because I can just tell it was just dirty and disgusting. It looks like missed free throw. They're up 5. Rebound with 4 seconds left. Made 3-pointer at the buzzer. And that is all she wrote. Yeah, that's nasty. That is nasty. Okay. So let's talk about well, first, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do as far as showing these, because again, I couldn't find like one website or just one spot that had all these, which was pretty annoying. But um let me see here. And I guess also, well, no, you know what? At the end we can go through specific like teams, and I can go deeper into the teams if you want. But I'll try to power through this, fairly quickly. Let me pull up the futures on. Well, actually, hold on. I'll get Caesars up, and I will also get FanDuel. For the most part, it will be Caesars, FanDuel, and then Barstool. Caesars. Okay. Let me share my screen. Pull up the there we go. I was like, where did I go? So they're the futures. Let me see if I can get into the first one. Is it Nova? Okay, so the first one that really caught my attention, I believe this is on FanDuel, was bear with me, guys. Now this is 75-1. Is Villanova to make the Final Four? Now, this is 75-1. So, are we expecting this to happen? I mean, probably not, but they're gonna have to make a little bit of a run to get in. But I do think that this team could get hot at the right time. And it's funny because it was 80-1 just I think like 2 hours ago, which is kind of interesting. So that was one that really caught my attention. But actually, before we get into the rest of the Final Four, let's talk about conference. Pull this up here because the Horizon League starts tomorrow. And the Horizon League, in my opinion, is really interesting because I was doing some research. The number one seeds have only won that tournament around half of the time since I think it was 2014. If you look at the Horizon League as a whole this year, there's not a lot of parity. It's it's a conference that I'll put it this way: it's not that talented. I mean, we've all watched Horizon League basketball, right? It's pretty ugly. I know there is a lot of parity in this conference. I know that the bottom feeder like Green Bay and IUPUI, sure, but other than that, I mean, in a weird way, these teams aren't that different in talent. I know Youngstown State is near the top, but I think that there are some opportunities for some of the smaller teams in the lower seeds to kind of make a run. So I'm going to pull up Caesars here. And what was interesting too going through some of these is not all the books had odds on all of these too, which was kind of interesting. Okay, so I got the Horizon League pulled up here. So first and foremost, I'm kind of curious, like what you guys think about the Horizon League. Is Youngstown State your favorite, or do you think one of the smaller, lower conference teams will make a run here. Oakland guy. So I definitely was looking at Oakland. But the team, to me, that I like is Milwaukee at 10-1. And I think that is on DraftKings. So it's plus 850. But let's pull up the Horizon League bracket. Wow, where is the bracket? I need the bracket. I don't need the article. I gotta make it so hard. I mean, this is why the Horizon League, I guess. Oh, we got 2021. Don't want that. This is huge L for the Horizon League. Okay, I think I found it. Oh my gosh. Can we just get a damn picture of the bracket? Why is that so hard to ask? Okay, there we go. I had them all on my phone, and then, geez, apparently it's hard to find. So I kind of like how the Horizon League sets things up because the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th seed, they all get buys. So you have Robert Morris and IUPUI, which is a funny rematch because I think IUPUI just beat them. You have Wright State, Green Bay, and then Detroit Mercy, Purdue, Fort Wayne. So after that, the lowest seed remaining, second lowest, high seed, they kind of all come into play. So Milwaukee is going to play the second lowest remaining seed. Hard to say who that's going to be. But here's the thing, guys. Youngstown State is the favorite, but they have never made the NCAA tournament. And I think there's always added pressure when you are the number 1 seed and you're trying to win your conference tournament. I don't think this is a good spot for them to run the table. I don't. The Horizon League, crazy shit happened. Milwaukee at 10-1. You know, whoever they play, I think they can win in that first round game. Give me Milwaukee over Youngstown State. I really think Milwaukee at 10-1 is good value. Milwaukee plays Wright State second round. That's if, yeah, most likely, right? If Wright State wins, right? I mean, that spread's got to be, I don't know. It's got to be. Is that already out? Actually, is that spread out? I'm gonna guess like 13 or 14 on a neutral. Green Bay would, if I'm Green Bay, I would just shoot a 3. Milwaukee can't play Wright State. Second lowest remaining. Nick is correct. It's the second lowest remaining seed. So most likely it's going to be Detroit Mercy or Purdue Fort Wayne. The lowest as in There's only 3. Yeah. So it's most likely going to be Detroit Mercy and then Purdue Fort Wayne, right? Most likely. Because let's assume Robert Morris wins. Wright State wins. Oh no, in that case it would be Wright State, huh? Okay. Regardless, I'm not too worried about who they play. I mean, I would love for them to play like Green Bay or some shit. But again, I think they get the job done. And if it's Youngstown State versus Milwaukee, I think Milwaukee can get past Youngstown State. It's 10-1. Wait, the first round and quarterfinals are at campus sites. Okay. So this is going to be a home game for Milwaukee. And then it goes to Indianapolis. Horizon League's all over the place. I mean, they got a lot of moving parts. Barbasol, I mean, shaving cream sponsoring it. It's crazy. This is awesome. I wonder if they give out like free shaving cream at the games. Yes, I locked this in. This is one I locked in. And someone said it earlier. There is like zero value on Youngstown State. They're plus 150, plus 180. I mean, what are we doing? That's terrible value. I would need plus 300 to play them. So I thought that was kind of funny. I don't really. Does anyone really understand like why they're that low of odds? Like that's kind of crazy to me. Conference. Hold on. Let me just. I'm gonna put this on the ticker. Milwaukee plus. And again, I did an average of the last 10 Horizon League, and the average seed to win was around 3, almost 4. So again, it's a conference that, I mean, you don't really have like one team that runs away in the Horizon, and it's not going to happen this year. There isn't one team that sticks out. As good as Youngstown State has been at times, I mean, they're not a team that's going to run away with this. No way. And I have a feeling that this conference tournament, there's some crazy shit that's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be, but I would love for IUPUI to make some noise. I mean, Dante, that's a really good question. It really comes down to your preference. I mean, at times I'll even put, I mean, less than 0.5. I'm talking 0.1, you know. It really depends your risk tolerance, but I think 0.5 is a little high in my opinion. So, yeah, in Detroit Mercy, I was thinking about it, but 20-1, I would need something closer to like 40-1, and also they have to get past Purdue Fort Wayne. I guess it's again, it's a sprinkle, like you said, something to cheer for, but I don't think there's good odds there. It's almost like that was kind of priced in, like the exact thinking that you had and I had. It seems like it's kind of priced in. I was also looking at Oakland too. I definitely was. I'm telling you guys, This is the conference tournament that I really think there's some value in. I really do. Okay. So let's move on and let's talk about. Can someone let me know if the Northeast Conference tournament is first or the Summit League? Which one's first? Because that will be the next one we talk about. You guys might laugh at this one, but I think it's the Summit. I think that starts. Oh, wait. No, the Summit's in a week. Tournament, not tomorrow. This conference tournament is so freaking ugly. Okay. So this is the Northeast Conference. Now, what makes this unique is Merrimack can't make the tournament. They can't make the tournament. So it makes it like a unique situation because it's like, how hard do they play? But last year, I think we saw a scenario with, was it Jackson State or Jacksonville State, that they ended up winning, but they weren't eligible. So, I mean, if you want to go off that, sure. I mean, maybe they will play hard, whatever. But I like Fairleigh Dickinson. And what was the best odds on this? I believe Fairleigh Dickinson was at here. And again, my apologies. If there's a app out there next year who wants to line shot for these, that would be great. But no one wanted to do it this year for the smaller conferences. No love for the smaller conferences. It might be 260. That might be the best odds. I'll have to double check Barstool. But give me Fairleigh Dickinson. I believe Fairleigh Dickinson, if I remember correctly, has beaten Merrimack already this season. Not only have they beat them once, but they've beaten them twice. And I just think with that in mind, close out of the Horizon link here. With that in mind, I think if they end up playing each other, which is pretty likely, I mean, this conference is bad, guys. Sacred Heart, Wagner, I mean, LIU. Oh my God. Central Connecticut. I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a rematch of Merrimack and Fairleigh Dickinson. It's pretty likely. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Now, this one I don't like as much, but I think there's value here still. Because this conference, again, I don't see a lot of crazy upsets. So that's kind of my thought process here. Yeah, it is the worst conference. Oh yeah, Jay Ballin, I think it was DraftKings. that I did have the best value on. But yeah, always make sure to price shop. The rest of these I marked down where I found the best value at, but for some reason I forgot to do it with Fairleigh Dickinson. Okay. Enough talking about that conference. Okay, you guys might laugh at this one, but we're going kind of chalk with this next one. I like Oral Roberts at minus 180 to win the Summit. Minus 180 to win the Summit. I'm trying to figure out a scenario where that doesn't happen. And the only one I can think of is that this tournament does take place, I think, in Sioux Falls. Yes, Sioux Falls. But that first matchup is going to be between, either Denver or North Dakota. The winner, they're going to roll. Like, they're going to be double-digit favorites in that game. Then you have Western Illinois, St. Thomas. St. Thomas has been abysmal on the road. Like, they almost look like they're playing with the opposite hand when they're on the road. They're so bad on the road. So in a neutral, I'm using that same type of thinking. I don't think there's any way that St. Thomas upsets Oral Roberts, and I'm more than happy to take Oral Roberts, probably with the points in that game, if we can get it. Yes, and that's a really good point, pick 6. The bet through. So this is always an option. I didn't have the time to price out and try to predict, but essentially, guys, what pick 6 is saying is the bet through spot is, instead of taking the future on the team, you just take their money line in every game. So for Oral Roberts, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 games. It might be the best way to do it. I'm not sure. We would have to kind of go through and try to project what it would be. But it would be close. It would be close. The only way like bet through wouldn't be the best idea is if we think that the Jackrabbits or the Bison get upset, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, Kansas City, Omaha, I don't think that one of those two get through. I think as long as it's the Jackrabbits and the Bison, one of those two teams, you're going to probably have a fairly good shot as with the bet through opportunity. So yeah, pick 6, definitely a possibility, just hard to say. So Evan, I'm going to say no. It would be really close. I think if they get in the final and they lose in the final, at this point, it's probably 50-50. There's a lot of basketball to be played, and it really depends what happens with teams like North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Like if a team like Virginia Tech or North Carolina, if they win the ACC, a team like Oral Roberts, if they don't win the Summit, they're really screwed. Basically takes away a spot. So in my opinion, Oral Roberts, they're 100% treating this as we have to win to get in. So yeah, minus 180. I know it's a little bit of juice. I just don't see a scenario where Oral Roberts gets upset. I really don't. They've dominated the conference. I think they won every game in conference. They match up well with every team. But who knows? Anything can happen in these tournaments. But that's my opinion. Okay. So those are the 3 conference tournaments. So let me update the banner. Can't wait to watch the replay of NC Central. That is absolutely insane. At least they still won, but I know to some people that doesn't really matter. All right. See, Dante, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but if you start to look at other conferences, let's see here, not the Sun Belt, but Gonzaga's minus 125. No, it's the oh, they don't have it here. Houston's minus 250, I believe. And also C Jessup, 87 with the sub name. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Okay, hold on one second. And yeah, back to Oral Roberts, I honestly think it should be like minus 250. Okay. Let's talk about Final Four. So, like I mentioned earlier, I think the Final Four and to win the NCAA championship, most of these can be interchangeable. But and you know, I tried to think like, okay, what are the possibilities, the win conditions, like a team gets into the Final Four and then doesn't win the tournament, right? Hold on, what the heck? And I think the first one. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Caesars doesn't have. Go to FanDuel. Caesars doesn't have Final Four odds, but FanDuel does. So to give you an idea, we have like Houston plus 130, near the top, Kansas, Alabama, Purdue, UCLA plus 270. And like, I think we should actually start there with UCLA. And I believe this is plus 300 on Barstool. If someone could double check that one for me. But I like UCLA. And I mean, pick six makes a good point. I mean, as a whole, like the pros and cons at this point of doing futures at this point, you could get in a position where you would have been better off waiting. But what I've seen more times than not in the way that I look at these teams, unless they have a terrible, last few games before the tournament, then you kind of shot yourself in the foot. But maybe at that point, I mean, they're probably not going to win it anyway, but maybe you would have stayed off of it. So it is a little risky, and it's plus 300 on DraftKings. Okay. But UCLA, I like it. If we remember last year, North Carolina upset them. And I mean, North Carolina was on fire. They were so hot. They couldn't miss from three. And UCLA was playing pretty good. I mean, they beat St. Mary's, and they probably would have made the Final Four that year. But look, sometimes it happens. It's the tournament. But the way UCLA plays, how efficient they are, they slow the game down. I really think that their style play aligns well with March Madness. I like the value plus 300 for UCLA. All right. I'm gonna update the bracket. Or not bracket, update the banner. UCLA plus 300. All right. I think the other one. Oh no, I think this is the best odds. How do we feel about Miami? Miami 10-1. Miami 10-1 to make the Final Four. Now, if we think about UCLA, right? I think UCLA will be most likely a 2 seed. A lot can happen, but I think most would agree they will be a 2 seed unless something crazy happens in the Pac-12 tournament. If they lose, I don't know, first round or something, maybe they drop to a 3. But I think they end up at 2. Maybe 3, but probably 2. Miami, though. Miami's range of outcome with like their seeding, it could be a little more all over the place because the market still doesn't necessarily respect them. And this is a little risky, but if they are like a 4, if that's like their ceiling, again, it's hard to say. Maybe 3, I'd feel really good. But if they end up being like a 5, 6, even a 7, I'm not going to feel as good about Miami at 10-1. Yeah, that's really, really good point, Johnny. And I believe they were sitting closer to plus 80 or maybe 850, maybe plus 900. And then the national championship odds, at least on FanDuel, 55-1. And again, any of these Final Four ones, I still think that there is value on to win the championship. Because to make the Final Four, there's not as many books that offer that, but you have Miami 55-1. And then UCLA 10-1. But I believe if you do some line shopping, you can find, I think you can find a better number than 10-1 to win it all for UCLA. I'm not sure though. I can't remember. And then the last team I wanted to talk about to make the Final Four. This one, hold on your butts. Hold on your butts for this one. Let's see where they're at. Ooh, guys, I kid you not, they were 16-1 like 2 hours ago. 14-1. It's Duke. I'm gonna double check. feel like Barstool. Barstool has Duke. $16-1. Okay, so maybe I wrote down the wrong book. So you can find that at 16-1 on Barstool for Duke to make the Final Four. Marty says, "How about those Hoosiers?" Yeah, they're all the way up under 10-1. I mean, at that point, I'm like, yeah, because I mean, you probably could have got them at like 15-1 just like a few weeks ago. Yeah, UCLA's value is not as good as it was. But yeah, a team like Indiana, I wish I would have gotten earlier, but the value's probably gone there. But no, I think Duke, going back to Duke, guys, Roach missed a few games during conference play. They've looked pretty good with him. They got some young freshmen. Why not? Why not Duke to make a run? Seems like kind of a narrative play, but I definitely feel like it's a possibility. I really do. Duke's going to get the calls in the tournament too. I mean, it's a little bit of a flyer, but I think Duke's a team that I'm going to be thinking as a dark horse. I really think Duke can make some noise. It's ugly. Everyone hates Duke, but that almost makes me love it a little more. Okay. So let's talk about some national championship odds. But D Smalls, if they do make the Sweet 16, then what? You know? Because that's what we're kind of banking on. So Creighton is the first team I want to talk about, 42-1. Definitely caught my attention. I want to look again what Bracketology has Creighton at right now as a seed. Ooh, a five seed. Interesting. They seem like a 4 or 5. Definitely seem like a 4 or 5 seed. But yeah, at 42-1, I just think that when they are healthy, they play decent on both sides of the ball. I like the value. And look, the other thing I'm thinking with these futures, this is kind of a general trend for me. I think this year's March Madness is going to be fucking crazy. I mean, for the most part, last year was pretty tame, but the way college basketball has been this year, I think, no disrespect if you're on these futures at these numbers, but I think Houston, Kansas, Alabama, Purdue at these numbers is pretty bad. And even I would even say UCLA too. Like I'll be fair with that. Because there's not one clear-cut favorite. We know March is crazy, and we know that it's the hardest national championship to win. You got to win 6 games straight. And I just think that anything like 20-1 and under, it's just probably not the best bet. And look, I know I mentioned UCLA, but you're hoping you get lucky and throwing that dart. If I'm going to throw a dart, let's throw it on a team who's 42-1 or 40-1, right? So that's my thought process. Yeah, D Smalls, lots of upsets, but I mean, there's always upsets every year. But if you look at the bracket last year, I mean, other than look, you had St. Peter's, but other than that, it wasn't the craziest bracket. And I think St. Peter's stole the spotlight. But I think this year, I would be shocked if we see 2 1s, 2 seeds. I just think it's going to be complete chaos. I really do think that you'll have like a 5 seed somehow get in, or 5 to 6 seed. Who knows? Maybe an 8 makes a run. I think it's going to be crazy. So that's kind of my thought process. So I like Creighton. I also like Marquette. I think Marquette. I'm pretty sure. Let me see here. I'm pretty sure I found a 40-1 on Marquette. Let me double check. Let me double check. Yeah, so Marquette on Barstool is 40-1. And I love the value there. I love the value at 40-1. Let me add this right here. We have Creighton 42-1. And then we have Marquette. And again, that's on Bet Rivers and Barstool. Seems like pretty good value to me. Seems like pretty good value to me. And yes, 70 or Noah, it is pretty weak. I don't know if it's the weakest. I mean, I'd have to look back, but it's definitely not anywhere close to strong, which is good. I think that makes the futures market fun. I think Gonzaga could make a run, but a team like Gonzaga, I think it really is dependent on the seeding and who is in the bracket. But I really think they could make a run because if Strother's playing well, Timmy's going to do his thing. I definitely think that Gonzaga could make a run. It just depends. Arkansas, yeah, they are starting to heat up. 45-1 may not be the worst look. Again, I'm going off of my thinking here that you want to target these teams kind of in this 30-1. I mean, even like 65-1. I mean, guys, Providence is 120-1. I don't think that's the worst bet in the world. Also, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is like the most underrated team. 150-1. I mean, they have a head coach, Jeff Capel, who, as a player, won a national championship, I believe, with Duke. He's been on teams as an assistant coach. 150-1 is pretty crazy to me. Same with Providence. I mean, you're going to put Arizona State the same odds as Pittsburgh. I think that's wild to me. They have Pittsburgh as a 10 seed. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Again, at those odds, I'm like, but that wasn't one that I actually had down here written down. I just thought I wanted to bring it up because both those, Providence and Pittsburgh, Providence again at 120 to 1. Pretty interesting. And then you're next to a team like Rutgers, which I just think away from the rack is terrible value. But Pittsburgh, I think, still 151 wild to me. Truly wild. The other team is Xavier. Xavier 60 to 1. Now, this was on Caesars, but hold on. Let me see what. Believe it was Caesars. Yeah, Xavier 60 to 1. I mean, my thought process here is when they get Fremantle back, Solo and Boom, why not? Why can't Xavier make a run? Decent head coach. He's been there before. And when you put them next to like Rutgers, doesn't that just seem like that's crazy value on Xavier? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. And even Duke is better value than Xavier, which is crazy. But 60 to 1, I think, is pretty good. What are your thoughts? I know I've been high on them, but just want to see what FanDuel has them at. FanDuel has them at 45 to 1. 45 to 1 versus 60 to 1. Seems like pretty good value to me. Seems like pretty good value to me. Yeah, Dougie Betts. I was thinking about Villanova, and I talked a little bit about them at 80 to 1 to make the Final Four. But they just have to get in, right? That's the kicker there. I want to take a look at there. I mean, most likely they're just going to have to win the Big East tournament, right, at this point. Nova at 30 or 300 to 1. That's impressive. And then the other one that I was thinking about, this one I haven't placed yet, but this one I'm definitely thinking about. Baylor at 20 to 1, but I'm not sold yet. I know they've had a tough stretch, and then, I mean, what's going on today? I mean, I haven't even looked at that score. They're up. Interesting. If I could get them like, I know it's just a difference of 25 to 20 to 1, but if I could get them 25 to 1, I'd feel a little better. I would feel a little better. Yeah, and RIP to the Coyote. RIP to the Coyote. But yeah, 20 to 1, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with 20 to 1. It is 16 to 1 on Barstool, so maybe there's a little bit of value, but 15 to 1 at FanDuel. I guess 20 to 1 is the number. It's a good number. And that's on Caesars. I'm going to add this to the banner. Xavier 60-1. I honestly think that's a steal at 60-1. And I understand why it's where it's at, but if they're healthy, who knows? Sean Miller. Yeah, Logan talked a little bit at the beginning about the conference winners. Are you talking tournament, or are you talking more just like to win the regular season? Talked a little bit about the Summit, the Northeastern Conference, and then Horizon. Those were the three. But I would say Caesars and then Barstool, probably the best place for futures there. Like the Patriot League, I know it's so chalky, but I think Colgate has to be the favorite there. I don't see another team taking them down. The Southern, I need to look a little more into the Southern. I did not look at that one. WCC, BYU at 30-1. Well, what makes this so crazy, guys, is let me pull up the WCC. I made a post about this the other day. The reason why these odds are all over the place is because WCC, they have a very interesting bracket. And essentially what it is it rewards and puts more emphasis on the regular season. God, why is it so hard to just find these? I know someone said it, but I got to go to damn Instagram to get the bracket. There we go. There's basically 3 buys for the 1 and 2 seed. I mean, do you guys like this? I'm curious what your thoughts are. What the heck is this guy? Get down here, kid. I mean, I get the reasoning behind it, but at the same time, if you're Portland or San Diego, you would have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in 6 days. Oh, and by the way, you would have to win the 4th game in 5 days against St. Mary's or Gonzaga, right? I'm on the fence. I mean, I understand why they have it, but it just gives way more of a benefit to, the 4 and the 3 and the 1 and the 2. Yeah, pick 6, I agree, but for this conference, right? St. Mary's and Gonzaga are already in. So what I'm very curious on, could LMU or Santa Clara, could they make a run and upset St. Mary's and Gonzaga? Someone said BYU. Where did it? There it is. So LMU is 70-1. And they beat St. Mary's already. And they beat Gonzaga, right? 70-1. I mean, that's probably where the value's at. When you compare that to Gonzaga, who's the favorite at minus 125. That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. So if you're feeling crazy, you could put on, I don't know, sprinkle $10 on there. Fuck it. Who knows? But I believe Gonzaga and St. Mary's have won this conference the last like 6 or 7 years. But it makes sense, right? BYU, it is kind of interesting how it's only 30-1. So they would have to play 1, 2, 3, 4 games in, let's see, 4 and 5. Oh, you found it on DraftKings at 50-1? I mean, that's a better number. That's a better number at 50-1. I'm just trying to think, like, could they actually pull an upset? They would have to beat St. Mary's and Gonzaga probably back to back. Who knows? I've seen crazier, but what are these odd boosts? Oh, so lame. Ohio Valley. I have not even looked at this yet. Morehead State plus 120. Tennessee Tech. I don't think Tennessee Tech has ever made the tourney before. I don't think. Lindenwood, 150-1. I believe Lindenwood and Southern Indiana are both ineligible. I need to look at the Southern Conference. I feel like there might be some value on like Chattanooga, but I actually have to go. Well, Nevada is your arch nemesis now. James Madison. That's how I feel about James Madison. I mean, I bet James Madison early in the season and they were covering for me, but then lately they've shit the bed for me. South Alabama worth a sprinkle. Yeah, I haven't watched them much as of late, but I need to go check them out. But anyways, guys, I'm probably going to hop off. Just wanted to come on here for about an hour to run through some of these. Personally, my favorite, probably Marquette, 40-1. And then Xavier 60-1. I think that's insane. And then Oral Roberts. No way. Oklahoma State coming back? What was the What was the spread on that? Was it +2? Probably closed. I think it closed 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. I got it pulled up on my phone now. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? It's got a turnover? Almost. Yeah, and then to recap the conference tournament plays, Oral Roberts -180. I know it's a little juicy, but guys, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a cakewalk. I'm watching this game now. Are they fouling? Are they not? Are they fouling? You got a foul. You got a foul. Oral Roberts to win the Summit. And then was it Milwaukee? Milwaukee 10-1 to win the Horizon. That's going to be fun. Horizon League I'm excited for. And then Fairleigh Dickinson. That's one I didn't actually place. So I think I'm going to, but it's one that just looking at the value, I think it's there. It makes sense. Because again, when you look at that conference, I really think that there's only two teams that have a chance to win that tournament, and it's Merrimack and it's Fairleigh Dickinson. But I guess the thing, though, is if those two teams meet, then at that point, Fairleigh Dickinson gets in, right? 100%, because Merrimack, they're ineligible. So I guess the thought process there could be, does Fairleigh Dickinson just not give a fuck? I mean, you'd still want to win your conference, get another trophy, right? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that could be a concern. I'm just kind of talking out aloud here, but yeah, I need to think about that one. But if you do think that there's none of that issue, and they're going to try to win, they beat Merrimack twice already. I don't see why not. They could do it 3 times. And Oklahoma State missing free throws, made the second. They're going to need to foul. This guy's a limping. This is they're doing like the football out of bounds play. $12 seconds left. 12 seconds left. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to call it. We could raid Chele. Little Chell raid. See if I can not fuck this up. Boom. All right, we'll go raid Chelly. Let's go say what up to Chelly. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Best of luck with the rest of your bets tonight, and we will talk to you later.